Two, one, we're live. Hi, everybody. This is Jennifer of the Two Virgos. Beck is momentarily indisposed, but she might be with us shortly. And right now it is 8:48 p.m. We're kind of going on a little bit early because we were just sitting here chit-chatting and waiting for 9 o'clock, the bell to toll, but it's 8:49, so why not get it started now? Neither of us are shy. So it is August 7th, 2020, and it's about 65 degrees outside, and it's just now starting to get dark. And I always say that because when it comes up in memories or anything, I like to look back and see how it was. So I also put all that stuff in for the weddings that I officiate. I put it in the paperwork, what the temperature was, what the moon cycles were, the date, the time, day of the week, yada, yada, yada. So today, right now with me, I have Jessica, and Jessica and I are going to have a little discussion about, well, why don't you tell us what we're going to discuss?
Mental health.
Okay. Mental health for people your age, because you're a completely different generation than I am. And I know last week on our group page here, Beck and I had discussed about mental health in general as a whole. So why don't you give us your perspective of things? How are things with you?
Well, I'm 22 years old, so it's more that younger generation, most like. I graduated in 2016, and it's been kind of rough with me, mainly because I wasn't like everybody else, so I always got picked on. So I didn't really have a lot of friends. So mental health was pretty much always there, like the depression and the anxiety. Yeah.
So when you say always there, and I know a lot of this stuff, I'll probably know the answer to these, but I still want to ask you so that, you can share your experience. When you say that it was always there, do you mean at what age do you feel that you started noticing that you felt different from everybody and that was making you feel a certain kind of way?
When I first started elementary.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the depression hit kind of like second or third grade when I realized that I wasn't making as many friends as my other classmates, and the anxiety and the willingness to wanting to trust others but not wanting to get hurt started right when I finished 5th grade. I had someone who was very close to me just up and left, and it's still haunting me to this day. I don't even know how old I was. I actually have a timeline of my age that corresponds with the year and what grade I was in, because I don't remember anything of my childhood, whether or not it was back in my hometown or any of the school years. I don't remember anything. So I have to make like daily reminders and notes of things that I would like to remember whenever it comes up in conversation, like my age. So however old I was in 5th grade, that's when the depression really hit, because that's when that said person had left and didn't say anything, didn't say the reason why. So for pretty much up until now, I still kind of blame myself, but I kind of got over the fact that they don't care. So I should really just move on, kind of. But it's been.
So now that makes me wonder, do you think that you have like a phobia or an anxiety about separation disorder? Or do you have a panic button for, are you afraid people are going to leave?
Oh yeah, that's why I don't get close to anybody really. It's actually even hard for me to go anywhere besides my parents' house, or if I were to sleep anywhere, I would get major anxiety and become homesick. I didn't want to go anywhere. But now that I've, grown up and I've had my own daughter, so, I kind of got over it a little bit, but it still sits there in my head.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think, what did you call that? Homesick? I don't think that that's like an accurate term, because I don't think there's anything wrong with missing your parents and wanting to be at home.
Yeah. Well, like the reason why I call it homesick is because I would be somewhere else and the only thing that is on my mind is the comfort and the quietness of my isolation at my parents' house, in my own room, by myself where I'm not really judged by others, but whenever I'm out in public, I always think somebody is saying something about me negative. I can't just go in public and think, oh, that person's nice or that person's nice. In my head, it's always like, oh, that person thinks I'm ugly today, or that one thinks I'm too fat, or something stupid. But like, it's hard for me to be around people, and it's hard for me to make friends. So that's why I just blatantly don't talk to anybody, or I'll stay at home with my daughter, or I'll go to family members that I know actually like my presence. So yeah.
Well, that's sad. I like your presence.
I know you do.
I like your presence a lot. I'm sorry that you feel that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with the whole COVID thing, I mean, if COVID wasn't here, the only other place that I would most likely be is your house, because you're like the awesomest person that I've ever met, and I'm glad that you are actually my aunt.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, I loved when you lived right around the corner from me. That was so awesome.
Yeah, now I live all the way back in Niagara Falls.
Well, that's okay. And you know what? I have some personal feelings about that. I think that there's a lot of stuff happening in Niagara Falls. You can't escape it. Wherever you go, you look in the paper, you look online, you listen to people talk, you watch TV, you smell the air. There's so much negative about Niagara Falls that's a very easy place to get depressed. Yeah. And it kind of, because it's so oppressed there, there's just like a black cloud over Niagara Falls. It makes it seem like you're never going to get out.
Yeah, that's how I felt at first, and that's why I was excited to move out. But the way that I moved out isn't how I wanted it to be. I was in a relationship that I had moved way too fast in, and I realized at the end that it wasn't what I needed, and that I needed to gain my independence back. So sadly, in order to do that, I had to move back to Niagara Falls. And like you said, it is very depressing, and it is very like down all the time. So like that's why there's times like once or twice a week I'll log out of all social media, and then I'll just spend the day with my daughter and my family, or I'll go to the park with her, and I'll just stay off of the internet, because the internet is pretty much like the source of where everything is coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, the internet can be pretty bad at times. Yeah, I totally understand that. Now I'm curious, because now you and my kids are relatively in the same age group. You're a little bit younger, a couple years younger than my kids.
Yeah, I don't remember how old your kids are.
Well, my eldest one is 28, and my youngest one just turned 23.
I'm 22.
From 2017.
Same age group.
Yeah, relatively the same age group. But I remember when my kids were going to high school, that it seemed like that was a pandemic then, because there were so many kids that were in the same peer group as my own kids who had, I don't know what they had. They would seem fine, and then they would go back to their houses or go wherever they went, and they would be really depressed. And there was quite a few of them who either attempted to hurt themselves or followed through with, taking their own lives. And it was very sad. And I didn't understand it then, and I still don't. And I think it might have to do with the fact that, my generation and your parents' generation were of the age where there was no room for anybody, at least from my remembering. There was no room for, if I said that I felt sad or depressed, or alone, or, I feel like I walk in a room and somebody's talking about me and I know they're talking about me, the advice I got was, well, go punch him in the mouth.
Yeah.
And that's
honestly how I'm raising my daughter. I'm not letting her take nothing from nobody. If they want to try and bully her, she needs to stand her ground. And she actually has already known that, even at the age of 2. So
oh yeah, she definitely makes her presence known, for sure.
Mm-hmm. You can hear her a block down, and that's just her voice.
Yeah, she's awesome. And I'm so glad about that, because she's going to have challenges. So do you
Mhm.
think that when she starts getting to the age that you were, maybe like, how old are you in fifth grade? Like 9, 10, something like that?
Around there,
11. So prepubescent. So right
yeah.
before adolescence hits and, puberty and all that.
Yeah.
Are you going to be on the lookout for
Oh yeah.
things, red
I'll be on the
flags?
lookout even when she's younger because, like I said, that's when I started. So like I know what to look for when it comes to her. And even if I have other kids in the future, I know what to look for because I know what the signs are. I know what the little little things that are pinpointed that show the signs of mental health, whether or not if it's depression or if it's anxiety or even if it's just ADHD. ADHD is still a part of mental health. I remember when I was in middle school, I had doctors that actually told me that that ADD was not real and that it was still considered ADHD. But I had ADD, and when I got older, they were like, "No, that is a thing, but we still believe that you have ADHD." So just yeah.
So what's the difference? Which is
Well,
which?
ADHD is where you have a short. Well, I don't want people. I'm sorry. No, sorry. Sorry. There. Okay.
What is,
ADHD. Don't quote me on this because I'm not. I don't know like the exact definitions, but I know ADHD has something to do with a short attention span and where you're very hyper because I know that's what the H stands for is hyper. And ADD is pretty much short attention span but without being hyper.
okay.
I do know that I have short attention span. I actually thought that it was going to affect my driving. I thought I was never going to get a license and I would never be able to drive because I have such a short attention span. I can't focus on one thing at a time. It's hard for me even to watch a movie. I can't. It's hard for me to
I
sit
hear you.
still. Like I have to be either up and moving or doing something or moving my hands and talking about something. I just can't sit still. Like it's even hard for me to sleep. I can't stay still even when I'm sleeping.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I totally do. So now, did you talk to anybody about this when you were coming up, when you were, starting noticing any of this? Did you bring it to anybody's attention, or did you just feel like you can't talk to
I didn't
anybody?
I didn't bring it to anybody's attention because like I had said, I had somebody who I was very close with and was actually the only person that I was very close with when I was younger. So I felt like I wouldn't be close with anybody else again. So the next time that I actually had spoken to somebody was when I was 14. That's when I had gotten a counselor. And so let's say 9 was when I was in 5th grade. So from 9 to 14, that's when, you know what I mean? That's when I actually started talking to somebody else and I was, letting go of all the feelings that I had throughout the years. And even then, it still wasn't, I still couldn't fully trust that person because I would have a counselor come in for a few months and then they would go off and do something. So then I would have to get used to another counselor. And I had different counselors. I was put on different medications and none of it worked. And by the time I left that place, because I turned 18, so obviously that was a children's place, and I had to go up to a bigger place. I didn't want to have to go and search for a counselor, so there was a period between from when I was 18 to I think I was 21. That's when I got the counselor I have now, and even they sometimes are like, oh well, I have to be on leave for this week, would you want to wait or did you want to reschedule? And I'm like, no, I would wait. Even if I would have to wait a month, I will wait a month. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
go and try to talk to somebody new because then I would have to lay out my entire life story and I don't like doing that.
yeah. Well, that's understandable. So do you think did it get easier as you got older, or do you feel like maybe it just intensified because you meet new people and you're in different situations all the time?
It probably intensified because of the different situations and the different things that kept happening. especially because the things that went on in my life, whether or not if it was with my parents or with me not making any friends or, you know, being at that age where relationships came in and me wondering why I wasn't in a relationship or why nobody wanted to be in a relationship with me, it was very hard for me to go day by day wondering all these things. And just recently, actually, I think it was last year or, well, like I don't know. So sometime in 2019, I went and I got a psych evaluation, and I was really nervous about it because the main thing that I was afraid they were going to tell me is that I had PTSD. And he didn't say that I had it, but he said that there are some signs of it, which to me is scary, but it's good at the same time because that's all I wanted. I just wanted an answer. I wanted an answer as to why, pretty much why I'm like the way I am, why my brain won't stop, why I'm constantly wondering about all these things that I shouldn't be wondering about and that I shouldn't be thinking about. But at least I got an answer, so now I know how to work towards either fixing it or suppressing it so that way it's not a part of my everyday life. And I can hopefully one day overcome it. Maybe not, maybe so. Hopefully I would, because I've been living with it since I was 14, because that's when I started understanding what, you know, the mental illness really was, because that's when my counselor was talking to me about it. But it's been a long road.
Do you think that, you know, maybe it's something that has been carried on from your family? So by the way, so Hannah left you a note. You're so loved.
Thank you, Hannah. Hannah's my best friend. I love her.
Yeah, Hannah's pretty awesome. She's got awesome hair.
Oh, I know. She doesn't like it, but she has awesome hair.
Yeah, she does. Get used to it now. And appreciate it now. Just like I tell everybody your guys' age, appreciate your hair now, because when, you know, you're older and it's thinning out, even if you're a girl, it's going to thin out. And you know what? Appreciate your bladder, because someday when you're older and you sneeze and pee your pants, it's not going to be fun. So appreciate your bladder now.
And Jennifer, I already have that issue now, and I'm only 22.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with me having my daughter, but I wouldn't change it. It's just something of who I am now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, it probably is from having the baby, you know, for sure. That has a lot to do with that. The babies put a lot of pressure on your bladder.
I mean, even before that, I just have a small bladder. That's the downside of me. I just have a small bladder.
Well, that's good. You can get everything out of your system quicker that way.
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering, let's go back to when you were younger, like way, way younger. Now, when you say that you started noticing that you felt like you were different, even though I'm sure, well, I can't really speak for everybody, but not everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
So I know that you felt that way, but when you say that you felt like you didn't have enough friends or any friends or whatever, did it feel really dark? Like, were you in a dark place? Like, what happened? Tell me about what. Okay, go ahead.
When I was younger, well, what I remember of when I was younger is that I didn't make any friends, really. And the only person that I could ever talk to about the things that went on in my life and went on in school left. So I didn't really have anybody to talk to. So, you know, as a normal child, I resorted to stuffed animals or imaginary friends, or in my case, which is not common of females, at least back then, I resorted to gaming. I would play video games because to me, it was kind of like an escape into something that I was actually good at. And I felt like I wasn't good at making friends, but I was good at playing a video game. So getting the accomplishment of being good at the video game kind of overpassed making friends, pretty much. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you feel that kind of gave you the emotional stimulation that you wanted and needed?
Yeah.
As a person? Okay. And then when you were playing the games, were you talking to other people online, or was it just a game?
At first it was just a game because I never really knew what online stuff was. But then I eventually made some friends, and I'm not friends with any of them now because I ended up falling out. But I actually reconnected with one of them, and I'm not even sad that he didn't want to be friends anymore because, he was telling me that, he's a different person and that, but all I was worried about is saying what I wanted to say because me and him just dropped all contact. We didn't know what happened. We didn't know why we stopped talking, but I said what I needed to say, and that's all that really matters. So I'm not upset that I'm not friends with him anymore. I'm just happy that I got to say what I wanted to say. I think the reason why I'm still upset over about that other person is because I never really got to say what I wanted to say because they wouldn't let
Got no
me.
closure.
They just kept running, and I've been trying to chase them, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be here for you," and then the next day blocked, and it's like I don't understand why, because they were the only person that was there at the time when I was at my lowest. I was young. I didn't understand what mental illness was. I didn't understand why I had those types of feelings, and that was the only person that I could confide into. And it was hard for me trying to find somebody else to talk to because when you give someone your all and then they just leave, it's like they take a part of you. And how are you supposed to fix that?
Yeah. And
So,
you know what? That's a lot to put on you for being a little kid. That's
mhm,
a way lot to put on you. It's inappropriately wrong that you should
yeah.
have to deal with such a thing when you were little. Now, did you talk to anybody, like your own peers, about any of this, or did you just assume
Mhm.
everybody felt the same way?
There was one person right before I left my hometown that I befriended, and I was able to talk to her about some of the things that went on, and um, it's just I feel like it's all in my head. Like my head, the things that are going on in my head and the thoughts that keep circling are the reasons why I can't be out and I can't be talkative and make new friends and stuff like that. I think that's the main reason because I can't even go into my local Walmart without thinking somebody's talking about me. And
Really?
I don't yeah, I really like the one day I went to go take back bottles for my mom, and I went in with one shopping cart and I had probably about two or three more. And then when I went back to the cart or to the car, I was afraid of going back in and having a bunch of people staring at me like, "Oh, she has a second cart of bottles." Like, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be picked on. So I just said, whatever, I'm just going to go home. And I can't even take back bottles without being scared. Like, that's how bad it
Oh,
affects
wow.
me. And being in and out of counseling, and they actually just had to raise my medication. I told you that earlier. They just had to
Yeah.
raise my medication because it's still not working. This is like the third medication that they had put me on, and it still doesn't work. And I even told them, I said, I don't want to be on medicine the rest of my life. I've been on medicine since I was 14 years old. I don't want to live on medication.
What does the
I
medicine
don't.
do?
Well,
Or
they
what's
were
it
trying to
supposed
give me, huh?
what is it supposed to do for you?
Well, when I was 14, 15, they were giving me medication for depression because that's what they thought that was the only thing that I had. Then they realized that I had anxiety, so they kept switching it up and giving me medication for depression and anxiety. And then they were like, "Oh, so you have ADD." So they gave me another one for that. And then as I got older, they were saying, "Oh, no, it's not depression. You just have generalized anxiety," which is where I overthink about everything and anything under the sun. And that's what the psych evaluation was. He also said that I had generalized anxiety and severe depression. That is what I was told from him. And just being put on different medications and then having to raise it, and then, me with the short attention span and just the memory loss, I I forget to take it. So like it's just a uphill, downhill road with all this medicine. Either I forget to take it, or they put me on a different one, or they up the dosage, or they lower the dosage, or they say take this one at this time, this one at that time, or if it doesn't work, to switch it. And it's like I don't want to live like that. Just I don't want to have to be like, oh, did I take my medicine right now? Like that's what that alarm was. I have to set an alarm to remember to
Yeah,
take my medicine.
I do
And
too.
yeah,
I
I don't
take
want to
different
live like
medicine, and there's
yeah.
nothing wrong with that. That's very positive and a very good thing that, you have that. What if you didn't have the forethought to set an alarm for yourself and you didn't take the medicine that you were supposed to take, and then you had bad
Yeah.
bad experiences because of it. So that's really good.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be real, and you already know this because you're the only person that I had told. But when it comes to the medicine, okay, me as a child, I never thought of suicide ever. I'm too scared of pain. That's really what it is. I'm just too scared. I'm afraid of dying. So
Yeah.
I never thought of that ever as an option. Um, and anytime a counselor, the first thing they always say whenever you start a counseling session, have you ever have thoughts of suicide or to harm yourself? My
Oh,
answer is
wow.
always no. Yeah, my answer is always no because I don't ever think of suicide. I don't ever think of harming myself. I just don't because
Good.
why would you end your life so early when you have so much to live for? And even if you have so much mental illness to where you really feel like the shit really hits the fan, I really don't think that there's, you know what I mean? But when I don't take my medicine, like if I forget to take my medicine, and I'll be honest to all the people are watching or whoever is watching, I do smoke marijuana. And if I don't smoke marijuana and if I don't take my medicine, only one time have I ever, not suicide, but I was thinking how would the life of others be if I wasn't here? That was only one time I ever thought of that. And I didn't like thinking that like that. So I instantly was like, okay, I need to go to bed. I need to take my medicine because like I said, I had forgotten to take it. And I needed to, I don't know, I needed to message a friend so then I can, go and smoke with them or something. I needed to either just go to sleep so I could forget about whatever the heck I just thought. And I didn't I didn't like that thought crossed my mind because I
Yeah.
never once have thought about that in the entire time of having mental illness, knowing about mental illness, never. And that's why I don't that's why I have the alarm set. That's why, I make sure I have some type of supply of marijuana so like if I ever feel weird, then I know, hey, maybe I just need to take a break. I need to go, do something.
Yeah.
Um, it's been tough. It really has.
Oh, I can imagine. And I've seen you through, the years that I've known you. I've seen how hard it and challenging it can be for you.
Yeah,
So I put the number up for crisis services here. So
yeah.
if you were talking to somebody, whether they're your age, younger, older, if you were talking to somebody else who might confide in you or might, maybe you don't even know them, or you know what, let's say maybe you do know them and somebody tells you that they're thinking about, it's not even worth it, might as well just end all this, what would you say to them?
Um, if they lived close with me, if they like lived near me, I would instantly either go to them or have them come to me just so I could be with them in person because it is it is never good to ever think that you are better off not here. It is never good to think of suicide. It is never good to think that the world is better off. It is never good. And although I may not have had, you know, hugs from people or like some type of affection like that, I would immediately give that person a hug because I know what it's like to be comforted by a very good hug. And
Ah,
I when people are sad, I instantly, even if I don't even know the person, even if it's just some random person, if they are sad, I will accept any person to come and talk to me because I didn't like feeling that way. I can't even imagine the kind of stuff that goes through other people's head, especially if it's worse than what's going on in mine. So anytime someone feels upset, I want them to message me and to talk to me, because I know what it's like to feel depressed. I know what it's like to be worried about everything and anything. I know what it's like to not want to be here. Like, I know, and I'm
Mhm.
here. I
I'm
know
glad you're
they may
here.
not know me. Yeah, they may not
I'm
know me, but I want to get to know them if they feel that way,
yeah.
because whoever they are, I want them here. It's never good to want to leave, ever.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, and I bet you would be a very good counselor if
Yeah.
you went to school and you became a counselor for children that had issues, especially when they were young, because nobody knows what's happening behind the scenes everywhere. There's always something going on behind the scenes and behind closed doors at somebody's house, especially the ones that look like there's nothing wrong and that it is, a ray of sunshine over their house all the time, are usually the ones that are so messed up inside the
Yeah.
house. And I think that you would be great at that. I think that you should go to school, and I think it's only like a 2-year degree, and
Yeah.
you can be certified to go and work with children or abused women. I think that's another thing that would be very good for you. There's family and
Yeah.
children's services that you would
Mhm.
probably be great at.
Oh
Can I
yeah.
ask you, are there, and you don't have to answer this in great detail, probably just a yes or no is okay, but um, have there over the years been certain happenings or events or instances in your life that have put you into a darker place?
Yes.
And has it affected your degree of, do you think you would still be depressed before things happened, or do you think that whatever may have happened made it all that much worse?
I think if this incident didn't happen, I wouldn't be as depressed or anxious as I am today. And I'm not afraid to talk about it. But when I first started to go to counseling was actually when it happened. When the incident happened, my parents thought, hey, there's something really wrong with her. Maybe, not like that, but like, I feel like she really needs some professional help. And my parents didn't really know what the incident was until 2 years later because I was afraid to tell them. But when I was I think I think it was 15, 14, I think 15. But when I was 15, my dad was dating this woman, and she had family members that were out of town, which happened to be my hometown. So I already knew some of them because he actually had met her out there in my hometown. Um, and, they came up to visit, and, um, um, and the person is actually a family member by marriage, but I was sexually assaulted by my cousin on my stepmother's side. And I feel like once that happened, nothing was the same. I literally went spiraling out of control. I didn't know what to do. I pretty much felt like it was all my fault, mainly because it happened in my father's house and everyone was there. Everyone was there. They were all sleeping. My brother was downstairs on the same level. And I couldn't tell anybody. I felt like it was my fault. I felt dirty. I don't even remember what happened. Like, that's when I lost my virginity too. So it's
Oh, geez.
so
So
I
it was
yeah.
just bad all around. I'm sorry that happened. That's such a shitty way of.
Yeah. That's why I have issues with relationships and making friends, because pretty much I'm afraid of everybody. I'm afraid of coming into contact with anybody. That's why I'm afraid to meet new people, because you don't know who that person is. I thought this was an innocent family member, but I guess not. And you don't know who that random person is. How are you supposed to make friends with people you don't know? And if that is the only way, how are you supposed to really trust them? So that's why I don't really make new friends unless if it's somebody that like I've known but never really talked to. Like in high school, I've seen them walking around or whatever. But like when it comes to making friends with complete strangers, I pretty much avoid that like altogether,
Mhm.
because you don't know that person. You just don't know. and it still affects me. Mainly because he pretty much got a slap on the hand for it too. And it's not that I have a hard time talking about it. It's just it still affects me, and it irks me that it still affects me because I actually had seen a woman talking about every 7 years, something happens to somebody's body where it's kind of I don't really know how to explain it, but like a lot of sexually abused women were talking about every 7 years, it's like their rapist like never touched them, like something goes on in a woman's body where every 7 years, I don't want to say recycles because that sounds weird, but like pretty much it's like brand new. You know what I mean? Like that incident never really happened because in the course of 7 years, it's like it overcomes that. And
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to accept because it happened when I was 15. I'm 22 now. So,
Yeah.
it's to my body, it's like it never really happened. But I mean, obviously it did, because the thoughts are still there, the images and everything.
Mhm.
But trying to work past it, I'm still trying to do that to this day. I'm still working with my counselor to work past it. And sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy, but you just gotta keep working through it, really.
So you did get help though for that?
Yeah. When I'm pretty sure it happened when I was 15, and then 2 years later, I was talking to my counselor and I was telling him, or her actually, I was telling her that, I became sexually active and I didn't want my mom to know because I didn't want her to frown upon it because I think I was 17 or something at the time. And my counselor had brought up saying, is this the first time? And I was afraid to say, yes and be lying. So I said no. And she said, well, when was the first time? And I started instantly breaking down. And I said, and that's the only thing I kept saying was, I didn't want to. I didn't want to. And
Yeah.
she immediately said, I'm sorry. And I know you don't want me to tell your mom, but I have to because that's something that counselors have to do if something like
Yeah.
that happens. So she called my mom. My mom had came by. I told her what happened. Had to call my dad. My dad came by, ended up calling the police, all that stuff came down. And what really, I think the main reason why I can't forget it is because what really got to me is that the police didn't believe me. They
Really?
didn't believe me. Yes, they thought I was lying. And the only way for them to actually understand, hey, she's not lying, is that I told 3 different people on 3 different days the same story down to the exact detail. And they were like, these stories match up. Like, she's not lying.
Yeah.
So, after the court proceeding, he ended up only getting probation. So, it was pretty much like a slap on the wrist. And, the only thing I have against him is an order of protection. But it's like, I wouldn't lie about something like that.
Wow. Well, you know what? That's better than nothing. And unfortunately, that's the way. I mean, I probably shouldn't even talk about this, but that's just how it
I
is with
know.
women.
Yeah.
It goes into what were you wearing? What did you say? Did you have perfume on?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Like,
lots of us that
I
have
was,
stories.
yeah. Like, I was in sweatpants and a t-shirt. Like, it was my cousin. I didn't
Yeah.
want that. I was 15. Like, but I'm kind of over it mainly because I'm 22 now. I have my own daughter. I want to make sure that she's safe. I don't want something like this to happen to her. That's
Right.
why I'm teaching her, hey, if someone's bullying you, you need to tell them, I'm not going to take that. You need to stop, or she'll come to me and I'll handle it. And I'm going to protect her with my entire life because I
Oh
do
yeah.
not want her to lay in bed and wonder why she's not good enough and for what. I'm here for her. That is my daughter. I am here for her. And I'll be completely honest with you. I'm 22 years old. My daughter's 2. I had her right before I turned 20, I think. Yeah. And I still don't feel like a mom. Like, I do, but I don't. Like, obviously I am a mom. I pushed out a child, you know, I do all the momly duties, but like in general, it's weird thinking of myself as a mom because there's days where I'm thinking, hey, you know, I feel like I'm a teenager again. I feel like I'm in high school. You know, I play video games. I go and hang with friends, and it's like, but I also have a kid. Like, I made a human being, and there's times where it just feels like I didn't. Like I'm just babysitting.
Well, you know what? You're going to grow up together.
Yes.
So that's cool. I mean, I did that with my oldest. We grew up together.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's 28 and I'm 48. So we grew up together. If somebody were to come to you for any of the things that we discussed, let's say whether it was depression, anxiety, sexual abuse, anything like that, how would you handle this? Let's say they came into you in a crisis mode. What would you say? Because let's say there could be people watching this, and because we're on YouTube and we're on Facebook. So let's say if somebody happens to see this and they're in a situation where they haven't told anybody about any of their feelings, whether it's because of something that happened to them or it's just brain chemicals, what would you say?
I'm here for you. You may not know me, but I'm here for you. I know what it's like to go through not having friends, depression, anxiety, sexual abuse, even a little bit of domestic violence. I know what it's like, and I'm here for you. I will hold your hand through every step of the way, no matter what it is. I'm here for you. And I want everybody to know that on YouTube, whoever's watching this, and on Facebook, on your Facebook group, whoever's watching this, that I'm here for you if you ever need someone to talk to. I know a lot of people just say that, but I truly mean it. Like, after this, I'm gonna go on there and I'm gonna look at the people who commented and who liked it, and I'm gonna make sure that everybody's okay, because that's what I do. I know what it's like to be hurt, and I don't want other people to be hurt.
That's good. That's good. Do you think that your mood changes? Because to me, I always see you in a really good mood. When I see you, it seems like you're really good with personal interaction. You know, like you're really into talking to people. But then when I see things that you post on Facebook sometime, and I'm like, oh my God, what is she? Holy crap, you know, or Instagram, you know, and I'm like, what happened? What happened since yesterday when I saw her? Oh my God. Like what happened? And
most of the things that you see that I post is mainly when I'm alone, and I absolutely hate being alone, because the only thing I hear when I'm alone are the thoughts up here, and I hate the thoughts up here. I just want them to go away because they haven't shut up since I was 14, and you know what I mean? So when it comes to, you know, I love being with people personally, like with someone in front of them, you know, talking to them face to face, or even on video chat, so I can see that person, so I can make sure I'm talking to a human being, and, you know, so I can get like physical
stimulation.
Yeah,
basically.
like,
yeah.
I like talking to people face to face. I may say that like I'm shy about it, but I would rather talk with someone face to face than through messaging or, you know, whatever like that. Like, it's better to talk to somebody to their face, because then you get the real vibe of that person, instead of, you know, cuz the internet sucks. The internet sucks. It does. Like, everybody's missing out on physical, not attraction, but like
stimulation.
Yeah, like but
so let's say, because I'm trying to understand, you're helping me understand a little bit. So I'll tell you, I mentioned you that you're relatively the same age as my kids. And so my older two kids had friends that, like I was saying, they were fine when they were with us or we were with them, because everybody seemed to be at my house for a while. You know, I had like the fun house, usually because I was working and my kids were at home eating all the food and cooking all the food and making a mess and smoking up usually. And I was at work busting my ass. But, but then they would leave and I would hear stories that they tried to hurt themselves or
Do you
did
want to
hurt
know what I think
themselves.
it is?
I do want to know because I was heartbroken so many times over that because these kids were just really good kids.
Well,
I thought.
I'll be honest with you. After my most recent relationship, after I had left, I spent 2 weeks at my friend's house. I stayed the night there. I showered there. I ate there. I couldn't go home because I knew I would be alone. And hearing about that, you know, your kids' friends being at your house, being all happy, and then going home and then hearing things like that is pretty much how you see me. You see me in person and I'm a happy person. You see what I post and that's sad things. It's because those people don't like to be alone. They like to be around people who make them happy and make them smile and not have to worry about the things that go on in their head or about the depression that keeps creeping on them. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is that what you said, you know, being like in person with people, that helps people understand that it's not all about the internet. The internet may be something that's there, but you have to spend time with people because mental illness is way deeper than what people think. And if you spend time with people, you'll understand the little quirks that people have or the tiniest things that make them smile and you know the way that they laugh about things and just you just have to spend time with people in person to understand truly what it means to be happy. And when you're alone, it's pretty sad because you don't have anything except your own thoughts. And those who don't have depression don't necessarily understand, but I'm sure they can have like a you know guess at it. But
Yeah.
when you're in person with somebody, you're happy, and happy's being good.
Yeah,
So
happy's good. Can't complain about happy. Happy's always good. So you mentioned that you partake a little bit in the herb.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's Hannah. You're an amazing mom, and she's going to appreciate everything you've done for her.
Thank you, Hannah. She's gonna appreciate you too because you've done a lot for that little girl.
Yeah. Who put this in here? I love you, Jessica. Oh, David put that in there. Oh, okay.
Weird is this Facebook user?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to where to go. I'm gonna put that banner up with the crisis services number. So even if somebody isn't in Western New York, you can call this number and it will still route you to the right place. Do you think that hanging out with specific people, no, not specific people, that came out wrong. Do you think that
hanging out in the bad crowd?
Yeah, do you think that if you're with the wrong peer group, does that somehow play on how you felt or how you feel now?
I hung out with some bad people. So yeah, it does affect a person. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. You just have to make sure that the people that you're hanging out with aren't those who don't care. You always want to be with people who actually care about you and your well-being and, you know, making sure that you're okay. Not those who just want to break the law or do other hard things, and just those are just the people you want to avoid. And I know firsthand what that's like. And it's a bad thing. You don't want to go down that road. You want to be surrounded by good people, and good people will always make sure that you're okay. They'll check up on you. They'll make sure that you're good. They'll even check up on your family. You know, you don't want negative people in your life because negative people will start feeding off of you like taking your happiness and just filling you with the negative, and then not then you became the depressed person, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And that's really good that you can see that. You see the forest for the trees. That's really good. That's very observant for you to see that, because you're a step ahead of the game. So was there ever a time that you felt like you couldn't go to somebody?
yeah, a lot of
And
times actually.
is that still now, or is that a thing of the past?
A little bit now, for certain things. Overall, it's usually like one main objective that would make me think, oh, I can't talk to anybody about this because it's either really personal or I might get in trouble, which I would actually not. My brain would just say, oh, this is a very bad thing. You're going to get in trouble. When in reality, it's just something that I could use help with. And that's a very toxic trait for people to have, but you can't just throw it out of your mind. Like it's a natural human instinct to feel that any bad thing means that you're in trouble, whether or not if it's being sexually assaulted or domestic abuse or anything else that falls in that line. It's very upsetting thing to have, but
Okay.
I just
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm just really concerned about this because I know you personally. This domestic abuse you speak of, when did this happen? And I mean, you don't have to give me specifics on here. You can tell me later because I want to know. I mean, were you in a position where you were in danger, or were you endangering somebody else? What was the story?
I was in danger one time. Yes, with one person I was in danger with. But I'm not in danger with that person. I don't have contact with that person. It's not the person I was sexually abused from. I haven't, he's way gone. This is someone that you do know. I'm not gonna say it on here because
don't say it on here.
I'd rather just I'll tell you after, but I'm okay.
I'm about to break this highlighter in half.
I'm okay from this person. I don't have to worry about this person anymore, but I was once in a domestic abuse situation. But I'm okay now. I'm not afraid. I'm not still being hurt by this person. Everything's good.
At that point in time, were you afraid to reach out to anybody?
Yes.
Why? Because did they make you feel like you were going to have to answer to them?
I couldn't be alone. I wasn't allowed to do anything. I had to only report to him. He would follow me all hours of the night trying to find me. It was bad.
Yeah, that's bad. Wow. Yeah. So do your family and friends know about this person now? If he should come back in the picture, is it something that, we should all watch out for because, maybe he needs to be spoken to?
I don't believe he will come back in the picture. My parents do know about him, but they don't know about the domestic abuse. Actually, nobody knows until now.
Until now.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's still a possibility that he could come around, but I don't think so. At least not in that situation anymore where I would be, abused anymore, but there's still a possibility of him coming around. But yeah. You're looking very flustered there.
Because I'm trying to pick my words. Okay. As somebody who has been way down the road of the whole domestic abuse, I lived in a shelter with my kids. Like, I have been through the gamut. You need to come and talk to me, even if you don't talk to somebody else, because there's a thing called honeymoon phasing. So if that person and you start talking again, it's going to there's a honeymoon phase where you're going to think, oh my God, this is like, what was I thinking? This is the best situation I've ever been in my life, and it's going to turn. That's just the way it works. And sometimes it's hard to accept, but that's the way it works. And there's just no way around it. It's not going to change. It hasn't changed since the dawn of time. It's not going to change now. And I don't want you to be in that situation.
Well, then I'll go back?
Where you would go back and then, think that it is all peaches and cream, and then
you know this person. You know this person all too well. It's never gonna happen. I'll let you know after.
Okay.
But there is one thing that I'd like to say, because I know me and you have actually tried to make this video before. To all the people out there, if you have children that you feel are depressed or anxious or even with ADHD or ADD, the thing I want to tell you is that for me, the way I let my feelings out, as Aunt Jennifer has already seen, yes, I do post things. It's mainly just pictures that you see scrolling through, and then I'll just, oh, hey, I'm feeling that way. Let me share that. The main thing that I get out my emotions and I express my feelings is through music. So if you have children, I highly suggest that you see what they're listening to, because for me, I listen to music and what they say and sing is how I'm feeling. And I think that's the biggest thing that you can understand your children more, because that's what I'm going to look for. I'm going to watch and monitor on to what she listens to. That way I know how she's truly feeling, because there's going to be kids, they're not going to want to tell mommy and daddy how they're feeling, because then they're going to feel like they're towering over them. They want to be able to have some independence. So if you really want to, be close with your children, but not like vulture over them, just see what they listen to. See what they play on a video game, see what movies they watch. Just that's the main thing, to see how they're feeling inside and how they're expressing their feelings, because like I said, I express my feelings and emotions through music. So if you listen to their music, the music that they listen to, then you'll get some type of covering of how they're feeling inside and how their emotions are. And that's the biggest thing, because I've seen a lot of kids who are so, I think oppressed is the right word, I'm probably not sure.
No,
and
oppressed is a good word.
Okay, so yeah, they're so oppressed that they don't have anybody to talk to. They don't want to talk to their parents, because then parents are going to be like, oh, I need to be on your back. And just like, listen to the music, because the music is the main thing. Because the way music is portrayed to me, anyway, that how I see music is it resembles people, but on a different wavelength. Like certain music, the way that they see the way that they sing it, when you first hear it, you're like, oh man, that's really like my life, like, oh, that really did happen. And then you start really liking the song, and you start relating to the lyrics, and you start quoting the lyrics. And that's really how I knew, what was going on about me, because the music that I would listen to and the music that I would really feel was attached to me, I would go and I would look up the lyrics, and I would see what it talks about, and I'll be like, man, I really am a depressed person, and I want to fix that. I want to make sure that I'm not going to be upset, and I want to help other people not be upset. So, when it comes to the same people that listen to the same music that I do, I see if they're okay. If they share a same song with me, I'm gonna check up on that person every day, or see if they're okay, or try and introduce more positive songs to them to, get them in a more uplifting spirit. And just, I urge you to listen to your children's music, because that's the main thing that most kids that I know, at least, get their emotions out. And if you really want to know what your kid is thinking and you want to make sure that they're okay, check the music, because the music is where the key's at. And you want to be able to make sure that they're okay. And my TV just
Yeah.
went off.
That's good advice. That's good advice. But let me ask you, so do you think that this is, whether it's depression or ADD or ADHD, do you think it's something that is prevalent in your family? Like, what if one of your siblings came to you or you thought that they were depressed or overly down, or
My siblings don't come to me, but I do know that they have depression, and I try to be there for them every day. I ask them how they're doing. If I can, I go there to their house, and well, I live with one of them, but I make sure that they're okay, because depression is the main thing that runs in the family, and my mom does have it, and I try to make sure to be there as much as I can for her, because she doesn't go and get help. I'm like her, very hard-headed. I don't need help. I got this. And there's days where it is pretty tough, but
yeah.
you got to be there.
Yeah, I know she's a very strong woman. So tell me what turned you on to the natural remedy.
Oh, marijuana. Well, I was a good cookie. I didn't start until I graduated, till I graduated high school. That's actually, it's not a mistake, but the whole thing with hanging out with the wrong crowd, that's how I started. And when I had left that person, I just kind of kept it, because the way marijuana makes me feel is every single day, if I'm not, high, I'm just so down and depressed and just thinking about everything and anything. Like, if I don't smoke one day, right, and I'm not high, I'll start thinking about stuff in elementary school, stuff that I don't even remember, and I'm gonna be freaking out. Like, how come I can't remember? I can't remember second, third, fourth grade. I can't even remember middle school, high school. Like, I don't remember any of that, and I start freaking out. Like, did something very, very traumatic happen that I don't know about? And it's just like, you start thinking of all these things that may not even be true, like all these crazy ideas. And that's why I don't like, not smoking. Obviously, I'm cautious about it. I don't do it around Olivia. I don't do it when I have her. I only do it when, at nighttime when she's sleeping, and I make sure she's okay. Or if a friend says, hey, go out, have fun, and they watch her and make sure she's okay, that's when I'll do it, because that's the responsible thing to do. And when I'm not doing it, it's hard for me, because I'm a very upsetting person. I had found out when I don't smoke marijuana. A lot of people frown upon it, mainly because I'm a single mother and I have a child, and they think, "Oh, you're so irresponsible. You smoke marijuana and you have a child. That's not a very
Yours
good."
is medicinal. It's different. It's for a medical reason.
Yeah, and like, I don't know how many times I've had to explain it. Like, marijuana helps me. It really, really does. I'm actually talking with a care coordinator through my counselor to get me medicinal marijuana, because it's not an addict saying I can't go without it. It's literally my head. My head, if I don't smoke, my head will not shut up. It will not. When I smoke, it's like everything is calm. There's not a million thoughts running around. I'm appreciating life. I'm going out. I'm having fun. I'm spending time with my daughter. I'm spending time with family and friends. I'm going and making new friends. Someone who's afraid to go and return bottles at Walmart. Instead, I'm going and making friends. Hi, how are you? Like, it seriously, seriously helps me. But a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's not, we don't like when people do that. Like, I'll be honest with you, my counselor and the lady who prescribes my medicine said they would rather have me on medication than marijuana. And I've told them I've been on medication since I was 14, on and off different kinds. I don't want to be on medicine. If a natural plant helps me, I would rather be on that plant than
Mhm.
100 pills. Like I don't
Yeah,
like pills.
I understand what you're saying, but let's just clarify, just because this is going out on the World Wide Web, that you don't spend your entire life stoned. It's not like
No, I don't.
you're smoking
I don't.
up, all day, every day, 24.
Only-
That doesn't happen. It's just
Like I said,
very,
I only do it when my daughter is sleeping and I know she's safe in the room. I have a safe home that I live in. I don't drink. I don't even like the taste of alcohol, so everybody can forget about that.
yeah, but
When I
that's not
smoke,
even all the
I only
time though, right? It's not all the time. It's
no,
just
no,
very, very few and far
three.
between. And you do live with three other adults. You do live
Yes,
with your parents and your brother, yes?
yes. I actually
So,
have a camera. I have a baby monitor set up in my room, and my mom has the monitor upstairs. And I let her know before she goes to bed, hey mom, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna smoke to make myself feel better. I have the camera set up. Olivia's asleep, and she's like, okay, that's fine. And I only smoke a little bit. That way, when I wake up in the morning, I'm perfectly fine. And I don't do it every day either. I only do it,
right,
when I'm really feeling low. And I don't do it around her. I do it outside. I do it away from the house. I'm very responsible with it. I don't, you know what I mean? I take
that's
it
good.
very seriously.
There's also, I have some CBD capsules that I'll have to let you have a couple of. Maybe that'll
Okay.
help you too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that might help you also. So, do you think there's anything that we haven't covered?
Um,
I mean,
I
is
don't
there
think so.
anything that you want to go more in depth with? Like anything from when you were a child to specific ages, or,
I
maybe,
would like to say one thing.
okay,
It's been 10 plus years that I still blame myself for that person leaving. It's hard for me to make new friends, and because of that, it's usually just me and my daughter. So, to those who feel you have nobody to talk to, there are people out there. I promise you. I promise you on everything on my entire life. If you feel that one person, left and, you gave them your all and they literally ripped you apart, there are other people. Whether or not if it's me, because I'm there for you, you know, or if it's, a family member or somebody you knew in school or online on, the gaming or even on a site or whatever, there are people who care about you. So please don't leave. That's all I'm saying.
right. And that's good. That's really good advice. And having said that, I just want to say that I didn't know this person who left when you were a small kid and that you still have questions about, but I do know that the person who came in her place
Hmm.
has been amazing for you,
Yeah.
and has
I
she
feel
really,
bad. I feel bad because this new person feels like I put the old person above her, which is not, that is not the case. I love this new person very, very much. I love her with all my heart. And it's just hard for me to let go, but she's here. The new person, she's here. She's
should you
fully here.
specify maybe? So let's say somebody on YouTube, because on Facebook, the people watching this probably know who you are. So let's say on
Yeah.
YouTube, if somebody's watching this, and let's say it's a child who might have parental change up, maybe one parent is leaving, maybe, do you want to specify,
What, like a
not
step
using
parent?
names? Yeah, using, maybe what was the position in your life that the first person was who left with no explanation? And then the new person who came in, what is their role in your life? You don't have to use names unless you want to, but
Um,
just
well,
because I really
she's
think my perspective is that the second person needs praise and accolades because she has done a great job with you guys.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
And your mom's
I
awesome too.
yeah. I give a lot of what is it? Praise to my parental guardians, because I have more than a normal household would have. I have 4, and I'm very appreciative for all 4 of them. All 4 of them have been here. They all have helped me through this entire journey of my life with everything that's been going on. And that person that had left was a parental guardian, but I guess they didn't want to do it anymore. And
Mhm.
it really upset me because as a child, you look up to your parental guardian and
Yeah.
you put your whole heart and trust into that parental guardian to make sure that you're okay. They're supposed to make you safe, and they didn't. So my new parental guardian, not saying my mother or father, they're still here and they still help me, but this other parental guardian is here and I love her, and she's the best thing that has ever came into my life, and I'm so glad that she's here and I don't want her to go. I know she's probably watching this. So, yes.
Well, good. Good, because I think she deserves, in my opinion, just
She
from
deserves a praise.
me, from me observing, because,
Yes.
I've only been in the picture for a few years, and I knew you guys before I ever met David.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that she deserves recognition for sure, because I think
Mhm.
she's done a great job being, a step parent, and I think she's doing a great job on her own being a mom of her own
Mhm.
child. You know what I mean? She was
Mhm.
definitely the right person to come into the picture.
Mhm.
And I would say that even has to do with it happening at the right time in your life.
Mhm.
It's all a matter of divine timing. It really is.
Yes.
So how do you feel having said all this and shared this?
I'll be 100% honest with you. I feel a lot better. More
Good.
more better than I would after like each counseling session, because of COVID. It's been usually through the phone.
Yeah.
And I would usually only use my counselor as my venter. Like, I would vent to him and I would only tell him all the stuff that goes on in my life. And it's nice to get it out there so that if other people experience the things that I experienced, they know that I'm here for them and they know that other people are there for them. And just to know not to give up, that there's things that can keep you going, and you just got to have faith. So
I agree with you. I agree. Do you want to share any of your information, how anybody can get a hold of you, either through Facebook or YouTube or?
I'm not sure how YouTube's going for me because I don't really have the best setup and I kind of ran out of ideas. But if anyone would like to follow my Facebook page, I will be
Okay.
more than happy to talk to you there. And then, talk to you from there onto something else, whether or not if it's my phone number or something like that. But it's Panda Hunter 18, and you just
And
go
where's
there.
that?
It's on Facebook.
Okay, so you're gonna have to spell this out because I know it's weird with so capital P, ANDA, and then separate word, Hunter,
No, one
or
word.
all one word, Hunter. So lowercase h.
Mhm.
Okay, so Panda Hunter, what's the number?
18.
18.
Mhm.
At Facebook, right?
It's a Facebook page. Yeah, I think my phone number is linked there. If not, just message me on there. I would love to talk to every single one of you. Anyone that has any issues, I'm here for you. I know what it's like. Talk to me. I will talk to you. I will be here for you. I will hold your hand through whatever process you have to go through. I'm here for you.
That's awesome. That's great. Okay, so do you want to give anybody a shout out while you're here,
Um,
or you just want to leave it as is? Because I think it went
I'll
very well.
I just got a text message. I'd like to give a shout out to my stepmom. Thank you for being here. Yes, you are very appreciative. And
Ah,
don't ever think that that other person takes your spot, because they don't. They're gone. I may still feel sad about it, but that's the process. But I love you.
you know what? Everybody grieves in their own time and in their own way, and it doesn't mean that anybody else is any less important. I would say that you probably share more love for your stepmom than the wonder of what would have been of your
Yeah,
first
because I'll
stepmom.
be honest with you, the other one wasn't all that nice, but it's
Right.
just the fact that she was there during that time where I didn't understand what was going on. That's
Yeah.
why I can't let go. But I'm in the process and I'm working towards it. And I would also like to give a shout out to my stepdad, because he was also here for me too when I was going through some things, and he's helped me out, and I love him too. He doesn't have a Facebook or anything, but I'm sure my mom will let him know.
Yeah. Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. Yeah, you do have, you're very lucky that you have 4 parental units that you can go to
And
and,
I have many more too. I have you and Uncle David. I have
yep.
many more aunts and uncles, or even just friends, friends' parents who are here for me. And
Yeah.
just, I have
Well,
such a great
I'm
support.
always here.
Yeah. And
You
I
know,
know
I'm,
Olivia's going to be set for life too. My daughter, I know she's going to be set, because
yeah.
everybody cares for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. She's a doll. Yeah. So that's good. I'm glad that we got to talk, and I'm glad that you feel a little bit better. And, you can keep watching this back if you want to. And, you can listen to your own words at those times when
I
you're
will
feeling
definitely
down or
save
you're
it in
feeling,
my group on Facebook or on YouTube. I'll save it on
there you
YouTube
go.
and Facebook, actually.
There you go. That works. Okay. So then what do you think? Should we call it? Should we call it a wrap? Make it a wrap? Wrap it up? Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so everybody on YouTube, before I forget, I should have said this at the beginning. How do they say smash that like button or whatever they say?
Yeah. Smash the like button. Comment
Like
what
and
you want to see
subscribe.
me and Jennifer do.
Yeah, all that good stuff. And on Facebook, thank you for joining us at our little impromptu little interview session here. And, you know, um, being there for Jessica for support. And if anybody wants to reach her, they can reach her at Panda Hunter 18 on Facebook if you want to talk to her. If you're feeling
I'm here for everybody.
lonely, if you're feeling lonely and you need to talk, then she's there for you. All right. So, okay, everybody. So you all have a nice night. You could just stay right there. You don't have to move. Okay, everybody. You have a good night. And Beck and I will. Mhm. Beck and I will be here on Tuesday at 6 p.m. again, and we're going to be having a live discussion with some people who are, I'm not sure if they're influential in Niagara Falls, but I know they have a lot to say with things that are happening in Niagara Falls, New York, and I can't wait to talk to them because I really want to hear about it. So everybody have a good night. Stay safe. God bless. Peace, love, and granola.